Hello there. Do you like to laugh? Are you fond of the occasional musical number? Do you secretly enjoy fart jokes and sexual innuendos? How about extremely vulgar language? If you answered yes to at least one of these, then boy howdy do we have a treat for you. The weird and deranged minds that bring you Strange Fantasy Show have dipped their toes into the proverbial soup of comedy to bring you a new program under the Strange Fantasy Productions umbrella, The Dastardly Dangerous Adventures of Darby's the Cat. Follow the infamous pirate cat Darby's and his mousy best friend Little Gary on high-flying adventures as they... Hey, what are you doing? This is a close recording set? No, hey, get off me! What are you doing? Ow!
Else you'll get some more of me knuckle sapper!
Kick him once more in his teeth, then tie him up over yonder.
Why are you doing this?
Oh, hush it. Let me tell the good people about the show. 'Tis only proper. Now I be Darby's, the infamous pirate cat. And this is me best mate, Little Gary.
Hello!
And we've got our own show now. So join us on the adventure of a lifetime and listen in and download anywhere you get your podcasts. Savvy?
If you do not mind, we really need to get to the show already.
Yeah, we're good, mate.
Fantastic. Ghost host, take it away.
Thank you. Cue the intro. Welcome to another regaling of strange fantasy. Obscure odysseys meant to shock the nervous system and stir the very core of your soul. Tonight's tale is of murder and deceit, for within close quarters, whom can be trusted when nothing is known other than a grave must be dug, and for whom digs the grave must be wise enough to prepare one for themselves. In this installment entitled Double Dealings.
Medford Station! This is Medford Station! Disembarking for Medford Station! Next stop, Salem! Next stop, Salem! Medford Station. This is Medford Station.
Excuse me.
Pardon me, I wasn't watching.
Careful where you're going.
Yeah, I was just trying to. I was just trying to.
Oh, my goodness. Help! Help! Conductor! Somebody get the conductor!
What do you think you're doing?
Excuse us, we need to get by.
Can you hang on just a minute? Can't you see the man is hurt?
Yeah, but look, just shift him, would you? We're in a hurry.
Sorry to have inconvenienced you.
Come on, Julia.
Excuse us,
Watch
we need
his
to
legs.
get by.
All right, ma'am, all right. Let me through. Now, what happened here?
You must be the conductor. I'm not sure, really. He bumped into me in the corridor and then just collapsed.
Let's take a look at him. What's the gentleman's name?
I have no idea. I've never seen him before.
I say, what do you think you're doing?
Trying to find his wallet.
I can't let you do that, ma'am.
And how else do you propose to find out who he is?
Well?
That's what I thought. Ah, here. Oscar Ward.
There a medical card in there?
I thought I wasn't allowed to look through his pockets.
Don't be cute.
I wouldn't dream of it.
There we go. He's got a nasty bump on his head.
What happened to him?
Probably hit his head on the luggage rack when the train pulled into the station.
Lucky bastard's gonna have one hell of a lawsuit.
Is that blood?
You're right. We'd better get him some help. Anyone here a doctor? Right then. You all can return to your cabins. This is an injury, not a cabaret. If you're getting off at Medford, you better hurry. We'll be pulling off any moment now. Could you help me clear a path so I can get him off and to the station doctor?
It says here his ticket is through Vancouver. If you take him off here, he won't get there for another 2 days.
You have a point. We have a doctor on the train.
It says here he's in 4C.
Could I impose on you, Miss
Philippia.
Philippia, to help me get him to his cabin? You said 4C? That's just right over there.
Very well. It's locked.
Master key in my pocket there.
Got it. All right, Mr. Ward, here we are. Oh, terribly sorry. I didn't realize anyone else was in here.
Don't suppose you'd give us a hand? Your friend here has taken a nasty blow to the head.
It's no use. He's out cold.
Had a bit too much to drink by the look of him. No matter. Help me get Mr. Ward to the bed. There now, yeah. Thanks for your help, miss. I can take it from here.
My pleasure. I don't suppose being a good Samaritan warrants an upgrade, does it? No? Figured it wouldn't hurt to ask.
Come now, miss. Let's let the gentleman rest. I'll get the doctor down here straight away, just to be safe.
Excuse me. Have you seen the conductor?
Oh, sorry. No.
Thank you. Excuse me, have either of you gentlemen seen the conductor? Right, don't mind me. God forbid I interrupt your drinking at 1:30 in the afternoon. When your liver up and quits on you, don't come crying to me. Excuse me, have either of you seen... never mind. Sorry, you can get back to your, well, you can get back to it. Conductor! Excuse me! Dr. Rivers. Dr. Malcolm Rivers.
Right. Sorry. Terrible with names.
It's all right. I'm new to this line. Don't know anyone myself yet.
Well, Dr. Rivers, how's our patient in 4C?
Not good, I'm afraid. He's dead.
Let's have this discussion over here, if that's all right with you. Now, let's try that again. The passenger in 4C? You're telling me he's dead?
I'm afraid so.
I should have taken him off the train immediately.
What do you mean?
It happened right as we were pulling into Medford Station. I could have taken him to the station doctor, but I thought better of it. I'm gonna lose my job over this.
Well, if it's any consolation, I don't think there was anything anyone could have done.
Really?
Well, I mean, I can't be sure. From what I can tell, it was probably a heart attack or an aneurysm. I can't say for sure until we get an autopsy.
And the, head trauma? That wouldn't have caused it? Or are you saying he hit his head because of a pre-existing medical condition?
I didn't notice any head trauma.
You didn't notice any head trauma?
No,
Did you actually look at the patient? Or did you just poke him with a stick to see if he'd flinch?
Once I realized he was dead, I didn't think it prudent to see if he'd agree to a physical.
I'm sorry, Mr. Rivers. I'm not handling this very well.
Dr. Rivers.
Dr. Rivers.
You said check on the passenger in 4C, so that's what I did.
I'm sorry. This is my first dead passenger. I'm just a little on edge. So what do we do now? Do you have to make a death certificate?
We can either give him to the coroner at our next stop or at his final destination. That's up to you. The local coroner will take charge of the body and create a valid death certificate. What was his name?
Ward, Warner, something like that.
Well, what do you want to do?
Let's get him through to his final destination. We could do a PA announcement there and see if anyone is waiting for him. Does the other passenger know?
What other passenger?
The other passenger in 4C.
There was only one passenger in there.
Great. That means the other one is wandering around somewhere, and I'm gonna have to lock him out of his compartment. I'll put a sign on the door asking him to come to the hospitality station. Yes, that's what I'll do.
Maybe they know each other.
Perhaps. Honestly, don't know if that would be better or worse.
Let me know if there's anything else I can do, all right?
Yeah, all right. Thanks, Doc.
I just wish you would have talked to me about it.
Well, it's too late to do anything about it now.
Yeah, because you didn't talk to me about it. That's the point. You're always doing this.
If I'd talked to you about it, you would have just said no.
And do you think that maybe there's a reason why? I love you, but sometimes you make the worst decisions
Well, look who it is.
Excuse me?
From earlier, remember? You were so desperately in a hurry you needed to step over an unconscious man rather than lend a hand.
Right. Sorry about that.
We're very sorry. We were... Well, just please believe me, we aren't usually that horrible.
Really, we just weren't in the best headspace before.
Please accept our apology.
I suppose travel doesn't wear well on everyone, does it? Apology accepted. But I thought the two of you were getting off in Medford.
We were just hopping off to say a quick hello to an old friend. Are you here for dinner?
As soon as a table opens up. I reserved a table, but it's not for another hour. I figured I'd come to see if anything was free, though.
Would you like to join us?
What?
Are you sure?
Of course, it's the least we can do.
But I thought...
I'm sorry, James, but we need to talk about this first.
No, please. Take my seat.
That's very kind of you.
Not a problem. So, how's your friend?
My friend?
The guy in the corridor?
Oh, he's not my friend. I just happened to be there to catch him when he fell.
Really? But I thought...
I'm sure he's fine. They have a doctor on the train, and the conductor said he was bringing him right down.
Good. Glad he's gonna be all right. So where are you heading?
I'm going home. I had a business meeting in Los Angeles and was only down there for a couple of days. What about you two?
We're heading to...
Seattle. Just a little vacation. Thought we'd actually find some snow for a change.
Oh, how lovely. And you are married, I take it?
I'm sorry. We're just every kind of rude today. I'm Julia, and this is my husband, James.
Philippia.
Philippia? That's a lovely name.
It can be. Personally, I think my parents wanted a boy named Philip, so when I came along, they just made the best of it.
Well, you lucked into a very pretty name, Philippia.
Thank you.
So, where is it you call home, Philippia?
Vancouver, end of the line.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. May I start you with some drinks?
First round is on me.
That's very kind of you.
I'm feeling like a white wine. Sound good to everyone? White wine it is.
Coming right up.
Thank you.
Well, that was lovely. Thank you again for dinner.
Thank you for the drinks.
I think James and I are going to call it an early night.
Well, since you're getting off in Seattle, this'll probably be goodbye.
It was lovely meeting you, Philippia.
It was lovely meeting you both as well. I think I'm going to stay for a few moments and treat myself to some dessert.
Good night, Philippia.
Excuse us.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, Mr. Conductor, I'm so glad to see you.
Oh, it's Harmon. It's Mr. Harmon, actually. Miss, Philippia, right? What can I do for you?
I just wanted to check in on the gentleman from earlier.
Oh, well, I really can't comment on the health of another passenger, I'm afraid.
Really? Even though I'm the one that told you his health might be a problem?
I'm afraid so, miss.
Well then, I assume there's no rule about me stopping by his compartment and checking in on him. Is there? He was in 4C, right?
Okay, look. I'm not supposed to tell you this, but I'm afraid he's deceased.
Deceased? You mean to tell me that the man is dead?
I'm afraid so.
That's not possible. You must be mistaken.
I'm afraid not. The doctor confirmed it.
But he was talking. He only had a bump on the head.
The doc said it's possible it was a heart attack.
No, I'm sorry. I don't buy it.
I'm afraid it's true. Look, I'm gonna have to ask you to keep this to yourself. The policy for things like this, where are you going?
4C, to see if your doctor can tell the difference between a live person and a dead one.
I'm sorry, I can't let you do that.
Well, I'm sorry. You can't stop me either.
The compartment is locked.
Well, then I'll just have to keep knocking until someone lets me in, won't I?
Nobody is going to let you in.
I guess I'm in for a long night, aren't I? I'll do my best not to disturb your other passengers. What do I say, by the way, if someone asks me why I'm knocking? Oh, that's right. I think the occupant might be dead.
Wait. All right. We'll go check it out. But once we do, will you promise me to keep this quiet?
Discretion is my middle name.
Forty. Here we are. 4C. Are you sure you're ready for this?
I have buried 2 brothers and my mother. I assure you I am not as delicate as you think I am.
All right. See? There, wait. What?
I don't understand.
That makes 2 of us.
Where's Mr. Ward?
Where indeed? 4C. This is the right compartment.
Well, that settles it, don't you think? Dead men don't just get up and walk away, do they?
Come along.
Where are we going?
To find Dr. Rivers. Because this man is either dead and missing, or alive and missing. And neither option is very appealing to me.
Just a second. Oh no. Not another medical emergency, is it?
What makes you say that?
Well, it's getting a little late for a social call. Are you feeling okay, ma'am?
She's not a patient.
Oh, sorry.
She's the woman who found Mr. Ward earlier. The passenger in 4C.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Now correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we agree to have the body taken off in Vancouver?
Well, what I said is that it was your call.
And did you leave Mr. Ward's body in 4C when you were done examining him?
I did.
Well, then you can't be much of a doctor.
I beg your pardon.
I'm actually going to have to agree with her, Mr. Rivers.
Doctor!
I'm going to have to agree with her, Doctor, because Mr. Ward is no longer in his compartment. So either he got up and walked away, or something happened to his body.
Well, I can assure you he is quite dead. I am sorry for the loss of your companion. Now, good evening.
Then where is the body?
I don't know. If you lost the body, then that has nothing to do with me.
I'm afraid it does, Doctor. You were the last person to see him alive. So I need your help setting the record straight on whatever is happening here.
I don't know anything I haven't already told you. I left the body in 4C and came and found you. That's all.
Then where is he?
I don't know. He's your friend, miss. Do you want to come check inside the minibar? Maybe I'm hiding him there.
Look, Doctor, get dressed. At the very least, I'm going to need you to file a formal report. If you say we have a body on board and it's missing, I need to make a report.
Fine. Give me 5 minutes.
Lovely man.
Ah, he's new. And it's not exactly nice to have someone questioning your competence.
Well, aren't you glad I insisted we check?
Reluctantly, yes. Look, this is getting complicated. Can I ask you to please return to your compartment? I promise I'll update you once we've figured out what's going on.
All right. But if I don't hear anything, I'm going to come looking for you.
Understood.
I'm in 5B.
5B. I'll let you know. Ah, all right, Mr. Rivers. Let's see if you're going crazy or am I. All right, Doctor. So walk me through it.
Fine. You came and got me and told me someone had an injury in 4C. I got my bag, and I came right down.
How far behind me?
I don't know, no more than 5 minutes.
Okay, so the lady and I sit down Mr. Ward here. She goes. I close the door and lock it. A minute or two later to go get you, say, hey, got an injury, come check it out. 5 minutes later, you're here, and he was alone?
That's right.
And what did you do?
You want the play-by-play?
Humor me.
Okay. Bag down, kneel by bed.
Over here, Doc. This side.
Oh, okay. Kneel by bed. First thing, check pulse, no pulse. Roll him over, check for breathing, no breathing.
Did you attempt resuscitation or anything?
No, not in this case. My first thought was that it might have been asphyxiation, but I checked the airway and there was no obstruction, and since he was on his stomach, choking on vomit or some other fluid was unlikely, so without further investigation, I figured it was probably cardiovascular or blood-related.
So, what then?
Then I thought the corpse and I would have a nice game of gin rummy. I figured I stood a good chance of winning.
Dr. Rivers.
Then I packed my bag up, closed the door, and started looking for you.
Did you lock it?
No, I didn't have my master keys with me.
Right. Well, it's a mystery.
Look, for what it's worth, I wish the man were okay. It would make life a hell of a lot easier, but he was dead. Still warm, I'll grant you, but definitely dead.
Okay, Doctor. Thanks for the help. If you'll come with me, we've got some paperwork to fill out.
Come on, open up.
Hey, pardon me. Hello. What do you think you're doing? Can I ask what you're doing, miss?
I was trying to get through to the next car.
That's the baggage car, miss. I'm afraid it's secure between stops.
Is there any chance you can let me in? My husband and I checked our bags through to Vancouver, and we left some of our toiletries in the checked bags.
I'm afraid not, Miss,
Tercel. Julia Tercel.
I'm afraid not, Miss Julia. Checked bags crossing the border are secured in a special section, and we can't access them until they pass customs.
I see. I'm sorry to have wasted your time.
Are you okay, Miss Julia? Hey, can I get you extra toiletries from the concierge?
No, I'm fine, thanks.
Lawyer identification number, physician license number, description of incident. I suppose missing body isn't detailed enough for him.
Excuse me, sir, but the dining car is going to be closing momentarily.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize it was getting so late. Can I trouble you for one more cup of coffee?
Of course, sir.
A decaf, please. The last one you brought me had enough caffeine to make a sloth run a marathon. I'll be lucky to get any sleep at all tonight. Name of deceased? I don't even think I remember. Let's see here. Just put it down there, please. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were the waiter. I think the dining car is about to close, but they might give you something to go. Excuse me, do you usually take things off of other people's tables?
I'm afraid we're all out of decaf, sir. I hope that won't be a problem.
And the waiter found him like this?
Yes, sir.
Where is he now?
Just outside. Would you like me to bring him in?
Please.
Right in here. Do you know Mr. Inzabel?
Not formally. I served him his meals from time to time.
He's the rail marshal, and he's got a few questions about Mr. Rivers' death.
How long did you leave him alone?
No more than 5 minutes. I'd just gone to get him a coffee refill.
Do you know what time?
10 o'clock. Give or take a few minutes. I was just about to close the dining car.
So the public door wasn't locked yet?
No, I was just about to. What are you doing, sir?
Checking his pockets. Still got his wallet. With a fair amount of cash. Makes robbery unlikely. It's odd.
What is it?
I can't seem to find his room keys. You'd think he would have brought them to dinner, wouldn't you?
What do you want me to do, sir?
We'll need to pick up a forensic team in Seattle. For right now, close off the dining car. He'll have to serve breakfast to the rooms.
Of course.
Did you know him very well?
Not at all, really. He's new to the route. I've spoken with him a few times today because of some, unusual injuries aboard.
This report here on the table, that have anything to do with your unusual injuries?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
It says here you had a death on the train earlier today.
We're not too sure, sir. Mr. Rivers was the only one to have seen the body. It vanished before we could get a proper look at it.
Mr. Harmon, I think you better start at the beginning.
So after the doc walked me through the examination, I figured there was nothing left for me to do but file an official report. Apart from the gentleman's name and the compartment number, I didn't have any information to act on.
Can you find that woman for me? The one that helped you move the dead man into his compartment?
Sure thing. I believe she said she was in 4D.
Excellent. I'd like to ask her a few questions.
Right. Oh, there's one other thing. Might be important, might not be.
Yes?
There was this woman, Mrs. Terrell. I caught her trying to break into the baggage car about 10 minutes before I was called about Mr. Rivers' death.
Can you bring her to see me as well?
I'll do a room-to-room. Good evening. Sorry to disturb you. I'm just delivering a message that the dining car will be closed tomorrow, and breakfast will be delivered complimentary to your rooms. You can leave this on your door with your order. Sorry to disturb you. Have a good night. All right. Good evening. Sorry to... Oh, Miss Philippia.
Ah, Mr. Harmon.
I'm so glad I found you. I couldn't remember what your room number was. I'm afraid I need you to come with me.
I know I said I wanted to be kept in the loop, but it is getting quite late.
I'm afraid I must insist. We've had some complications regarding the gentleman you helped me get to his cabin earlier, and the marshal would like a few words.
Don't tell me he's dead again.
Not exactly, but I do need you to come with me.
May I at least get dressed?
Of course, of course. I'll be back in about, 10 minutes. Will that be sufficient?
That'll do, yes. Thank you.
One down. Okay. Good evening. Sorry to disturb you. I'm just delivering a message that the dining car will be closed tomorrow, and breakfast will be delivered, complimentary, of course, to your rooms. You can leave this slip on your door. Complimentary to your rooms. And you can leave this on your door with your order. Sorry to have disturbed you. Have a good night. Good evening. Sorry to have disturbed you. Just who I was looking for. Mrs. Terrell, isn't it?
Tercel.
Mrs. Tercel, would you mind accompanying me to the lounge?
Why? Why do you need to see my wife?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr.
Tercel is fine.
I'm sorry, Mr. Tercel. The rail marshal has just a few questions, that's all.
Marshal? What for?
I'd prefer if we could talk about this in the lounge.
It's late, and she hasn't done anything, so she doesn't have to go anywhere with you. Have a good night.
I'm afraid I must insist, sir. You see, I found your wife trying to get into the baggage car earlier.
You were what?
I was just going to get, our bags.
I understand, miss, but it is off limits, and there's been an incident we think might be related.
I thought we agreed to leave it alone, didn't we?
I'm sorry, I just wanted you to have your razor so that you could have a good shave before we get to Vancouver.
There. That's not a crime, is it?
I'm afraid I must insist, sir. If you prefer, I could bring the marshal here.
No, I'll come with you.
Do you want me to come too?
No, you've done enough already.
Ah, Mr. Harmon, I put myself together, so I figured I'd save you the trip. It's the Tercels, isn't it? I didn't think I'd run into both of you again.
You know each other?
We had dinner together earlier. and were there when her friend was injured in the corridor.
Are you referring to Mr. Ward?
I don't know his name. He was the tall guy with the black hair and the brown overcoat. The guy you got on with in Los Angeles.
I thought you didn't know Mr. Ward.
Different friend. I boarded with a colleague, but he got off in Bakersfield.
I see. Well, if you'd both come with me, I'm sure we could get all of this cleared up.
Oh, will Mrs. Tussell be joining us as well?
Indeed. If you'll follow me, ladies.
Ah, you must be Miss Philippia and Mrs. Terrell.
It's Tussell, actually.
And you can just call me Philippia.
A pleasure to meet you both. Thank you for agreeing to come by. There's been a killing on this train, and we're trying to figure out if either of you might knowingly or unknowingly have some information that could help us get to the bottom of it.
A killing?
This again. I thought we'd put this to bed, Mr. Harmon. The gentleman in question isn't dead. He just got a nasty whack on the head.
I'm afraid this time there's no mistake, Miss Philippia. Dr. Rivers was found earlier. He was
stabbed.
Stabbed?
The doctor?
I see. Well, I wish I could help, but I really don't see what this has to do with me.
Or me.
Well, in your case, Miss Philippia, you may or may not have helped move another victim earlier today, which may or may not have disappeared. This Mr. Ward is also the only patient Mr. Rivers has seen recently, and I don't believe in that much coincidence. And in your case, Mr. Tussell, you were caught trying to break into a secure compartment right before the body was found. And the victim's master keys were the only things missing when his body was found.
You think I would stab a man to get a set of keys?
It depends on what you were trying to get to in the baggage compartment.
This has nothing to do with either of us. I never even met the man who was killed.
And I only met him once, but at the very least, I think I can produce Mr. Ward for you.
Oh, you can?
Well, at least, potentially. You see, I saw Mr. Ward going into his compartment right after dinner.
Well, you failed to mention that earlier.
I also failed to understand the gravity of the situation at the time.
What compartment? I'd like to speak to him.
Oh, I don't remember the number, but I'm sure I can find it again if I retrace my steps. If you like, I can run and fetch him for us.
I'd like that very much.
I'll return shortly. Don't worry, dear. They'll get this mess sorted out before Seattle, I'm sure.
Now, I could have sworn you said you were traveling to Vancouver.
We are.
Then why is Miss Philippia under the impression you are departing in Seattle?
You'd have to ask her.
I'm asking you.
We had dinner with her earlier. We were talking about visiting Seattle. It's possible she thought that that's where we were getting off.
Fair enough. Would you like to tell me what you needed in the baggage compartment?
It's just my husband's razor.
You looked awfully concerned over a razor.
It's hardly a crime.
No, but murder is. And I can't help but think it's a funny thing that the doctor's keys went missing.
I don't care what you think. No matter how much I wanted my bags, I wouldn't kill someone to get them.
And your husband?
My husband makes bad choices, but he's not a killer.
Mrs. Tussell, if I can speak candidly, I look at you, and I don't see a murderer. But I do see an overly nervous and anxious young woman who is definitely hiding something.
My husband, James, someone approached him at the station. He said he was scheduled to go to Vancouver but had an emergency and couldn't make the trip. He gave my husband $500 to deliver a package to Vancouver for him.
And what's in the package?
James told me it was family heirlooms from the guy's father's funeral.
You weren't there?
I was in the restroom when James got approached. He thought it would be some nice extra money for our vacation and not much work. When I found out, I told him he'd probably just been tricked into being a drug mule or something. We tried to get off at Medford, but realised we couldn't get to our bags, so we got back on.
And this package is in the baggage compartment?
Yes.
Mr. Harmon.
I'm on it. What does it look like?
About the size of a toolbox, wrapped in brown paper with a bunch of writing scratched out on the side. It should be with a set of bright blue luggage.
I'll be right back. I'll get Mr. Tussell en route.
Did anyone know you were carrying this package?
I don't see how. He didn't tell me about it until after we'd checked the bags and boarded. So what now?
Now we wait.
Sorry I took so long. I believe this is the man we were trying to locate earlier.
Hi, this woman told me you wanted to speak to me?
Yes. Sorry to get you in here so late. Mr. Ward, is it?
No, George Maddow, actually.
I'm so sorry. We thought your name was Ward.
Why did you think my name was Ward?
When you had your accident, I checked your ID and I could have sworn it said Ward. Sorry about that.
Could you just give us a rundown of what happened to you earlier this evening?
Mr. Tercel will be joining us shortly. Is this the package?
Yes, it is.
We'll get to that in just a moment. Mr. Maddow here was just about to fill in the blanks for us regarding his disappearance.
Maddow?
Seems as though I made a mistake.
I'm afraid I don't really remember much. I must have blacked out for a bit. The train was pulling into the station. My bag came flying at me from the luggage rack above the bench. It's one of those big, hard cases. I should have checked it, honestly. I vaguely remember this woman and the conductor helping me back into one of the compartments. The doctor came in a few minutes later. He asked how I was feeling. I said I had a bump, but I was fine. I think he was annoyed that he was called in to check on me. He made a rather rude gesture, then left. That's the last I saw of him.
He never examined you?
No, he barely came into the room.
Why would he lie?
I have no idea. I barely said 2 words to him. I'm a little hazy, though, like I said. Thank you, by the way, for looking after me.
Of course. Well, if that's all the help I can be, do you mind if I retire for the evening?
Same. My head's still ringing a bit.
Not quite yet, if you don't mind. Mrs. Tercel, would you happen to know if this is the gentleman that gave your husband the package?
No, I've no idea what he looks like. I never saw him.
Have you ever seen this man before?
We were there when he collapsed in the corridor. Other than that, no.
What package?
This one, I believe.
Someone gave your husband a package?
Yes.
Why?
To transport to Vancouver.
And do we know what's inside?
That's what we're about to find out. Can you hand me that knife over there?
Here you go.
No.
Mr. Maddow, what are you doing? Ah! Get your hands off of me!
I don't want to hurt her, but I will if I need to. Now give me that package.
What the hell is going on here?
Nothing you have to worry about. How far are we from the next stop?
Oh, God damn it, my nose is bleeding. I don't know, about an hour or so, give or take.
Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to lock you all in here, and then this nice lady is gonna take me back to her compartment, and then we're just going to wait. And if nobody tried to leave or notify the police, I'll let her go and just get off at the next stop. That sound fair? We can all do that, right? And if everyone.
Now look, if we need to have a lawyer present.
All right, Mr. Maddow. I'm sure you know how this will go, don't you? Right to remain silent and all that noise, yeah?
Did I miss something?
Thank you, my friend. You've saved my life.
I did? Great. How exactly did I do that?
All right, Mr. Maddow. You want to tell us why you don't want us opening this box? Or maybe tell us about the murder?
I'm sorry, did he say murder?
Like you said, right to remain silent and all that noise.
Mr. Tercel, is this the man that gave you the box to transport?
Him? No. The guy was shorter and had a beard.
The second passenger.
What second passenger?
Of course. I should have realized it sooner. When we took Mr. Maddow to his room earlier, there was a second man. Don't you remember, Miss Philippia?
Yes. He was passed out, dead drunk.
But what if he wasn't?
You mean, what if he wasn't dead drunk, just dead?
Right. Do you remember, did he have a beard?
I'm not sure, maybe.
Why don't you tell us what happened, Mr. Maddow?
I want a lawyer.
I have a better idea. Why don't we open this box and see if maybe it has some answers? Well, you got a lot to explain, Mr. Maddow. Shall I share with the class, or shall you?
He was blackmailing me. Those pictures are not my wife.
I gathered that much.
I paid him, but he wouldn't give me the pictures back. He was going to hold on to them for insurance. I figured that meant he wanted more money. We argued, it got physical. We fought a bit, and I was able to knock him out. We fell back into the wall, and I whacked my head. I stumbled out into the corridor and blacked out. When I woke up, we were both back in the compartment. I looked for the photos, but I couldn't find them. When I went to wake him up, I found he was dead, so I panicked, and I went and got one of my suitcases from my room.
That must have been when Dr. Rivers arrived.
When the doctor left, I went back, put him in the suitcase, and tossed him off the train at the first bridge.
So that other passenger was the man the doctor examined. That's why he thought the passenger in 4C was dead, even though it wasn't Mr. Ward, Maddow here. And that's why the doc went to the wrong side of the cabin when I took him back to the compartment to walk me through the examination.
So, you never saw the doctor?
No, he was leaving when I was coming back down the hall with my suitcase. Look, it was an accident. Okay, I shouldn't have dumped him off the train, but he was blackmailing me. Who's gonna believe it wasn't on purpose?
So then why kill the doctor? Afraid his report would describe the second man and Mr. Harmon here would realize it wasn't you?
The doctor?
Yes. If you want us to believe the man in the cabin was an accident, what's your excuse for the doctor? Even if he did put a physical description in the report, you said he never saw you, so it's not like he could identify you. Wouldn't it make more sense to have killed Mr. Harmon here?
Oh, thanks a lot.
You know what I mean.
I didn't kill the doctor. I swear I didn't.
Didn't really think this through, did you? Come on. We'll let the Seattle police take it from here. Here you go, Mr. Tissell. You can have this back.
You can't just give him my photos.
They're not your photos.
Wait, what?
I'd be very surprised if it is yours at all.
So what is it?
It's not drugs, is it?
Looks like antiques to me. Pocket watch, locket, a couple of wedding bands. Really nice looking scrapbook.
I'm not a drug mule.
Yeah, don't get cocky.
I agree with your wife, Mr. Tissell. Never transport a package for an unknown person. You never know what you're getting into.
You bluffed me? With a box of old junk?
Thank you for your time, everyone. Good night.
I'll have second thoughts next time I try to be a good Samaritan.
Yeah, me too.
You weren't trying to be a good Samaritan. You were doing it for the money.
And to help. What was I gonna do? Turn down the money?
I don't understand it. Why would he confess to killing Mr. Ward, or whoever he was, but lie about Dr. Rivers?
There's a big difference between murder and manslaughter.
Then why confess at all? Something just isn't right here.
Well, since this couple of liars will apparently be with us all the way to Vancouver, may I invite you both to breakfast?
Dining car is still closed, miss. We're delivering breakfast to the compartments.
In that case, would you both like to join me in my compartment?
We'd love to.
You're welcome to join us as well, Mr. Harmon.
Thank you, but I'm going to have my hands full getting this mess sorted out.
I'll say goodnight to you all, and I'll see you two at, shall we say, 8 a.m. and 5B?
We'll see you then.
I'm so glad you were able to... Oh, Mr. Harmon, you decided to join us for breakfast after all.
Yes, not exactly. I was just finishing up my reports about the incident.
Just now? Oh, you poor man, you've been up all night. You must be exhausted. Come in, come in.
Thank you, miss. I just had a few things that I'm still trying to straighten out.
Such as?
I still can't, for the life of me, figure out why he killed the doctor.
He was the only one that could identify the dead man. I presume when they found the body, it would have led back to him.
Possibly. But there's other things that just don't add up.
I find things like this rarely make sense to rational people. Trying to understand the criminal mind can be exhausting.
There is something I'd like to ask you, though.
Ask me whatever you like.
Why did you think the dead man's name was Ward?
I must have misread his ticket.
Well, Ward and Maddow aren't exactly similar. And how did you know he was in 4C?
It was on his ticket, remember?
But that wasn't his compartment. It was the dead man's. Remember, Maddow said that he had to go back to his compartment to get his suitcase to move the body. So he wasn't in 4C. It was the other man's room.
That is rather strange. Perhaps Mr. Maddow wound up with the dead man's wallet in their struggle. That would explain how I was able to make such a ghastly mistake about his name.
Good point. Well, your breakfast companions will be along in a minute. Don't want to keep you. Oh, one last thing. I'm going to need that bag back.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
That bag there. I believe that possibly belongs to Mr. Ward. That is his name, isn't it? Mr. Ward? Your partner?
Mr. Harmon, if you're trying to be funny.
I noticed it when I went back to 4C last night. The reason we forgot about the second man was there was no baggage. Mr. Maddow said he searched for the photos, but couldn't find anything. I'll bet that's because you were holding on to them. You were partners with Mr. Ward, weren't you?
Maybe he never had any photos to begin with. It could have all just been a lie.
Perhaps. But Maddow said that he paid the blackmailer. We searched, and there was no sign of the money. And that case up there doesn't really go with the rest of your bags. I'd be willing to bet if I search that, I'll find either the money or the photos. Or both. Well?
Well, what?
Well, Mr. Maddow isn't going to be able to keep paying you for those photos. Whatever you have there is going to be it. So I have a proposal. Your partner is dead. You were planning on splitting the money originally. You tell me what happened, so I could figure out a way to fill the holes in my report. And I get his share of the money. And all of this goes away.
Mr. Maddow made the payment in Los Angeles. We boarded the train, but Maddow followed Oscar. That was his real name, Oscar Ward. The idiot Maddow confronted him on the train, but he hadn't seen me yet. Maddow was almost right. They fought, he came stumbling into the corridor, and I saw an opportunity.
Well, you lied and gave me your friend's information, so I'd let you into the cabin.
If Maddow knew who Oscar was, eventually Oscar would have pulled me into his mess. I saw a way out, and I took it.
So, Maddow didn't kill Oscar after all.
No, after you left to get the doctor, I popped back in and took care of Oscar with a pillow. As Maddow was coming to, I grabbed the money and left. Maddow had no idea I'd been there without you. If he'd just waited for the doctor, that'd have been the end of it. He'd have gotten checked out, and Ward wouldn't have been discovered until I'd already disembarked in Vancouver.
That's why you were so worried when I told you he was dead. If Maddow was dead, you wouldn't be able to keep blackmailing him.
And he's ruined that too, panicking over that stupid couple's little smuggling venture.
And the doctor?
He knew I knew Oscar. He'd seen us boarding together in Los Angeles.
Like Mr. Tercel. Only he didn't know the colleague he saw you with was the dead man.
That's right. If the body turned up, I'd have been right at the focus of the investigation. Well?
Well, what?
Does that give you enough for your report?
It gives me enough. Does it give you enough, Marshal?
I'd say that gives me plenty.
Why, you double-crossing snake.
Sorry, miss. And for what it's worth, I was really hoping I was wrong.
Look, there's $500,000 in that case. You let me go, it's yours. The two of you can split it.
Sorry, but no.
This way, miss. We've got some talking to do.
Mr. Harmon, are we late? Where's the marshal taking Miss Philippia?
Miss Philippia won't be joining you for breakfast. She sends her regrets. But if you'll please return to your cabin, I'll have breakfast sent right away. With my compliments, of course.
Is Miss Philippia gonna be okay?
You know, I think she's going to get exactly what she needs. If if you'll both excuse me. Seattle Station! Approaching Seattle Station! Prepare to disembark, Seattle Station! Now approaching Seattle Station! If you are exiting at Seattle, prepare to disembark.
Interesting how the cards may fall, either in your favor or in your demise. But such is life. C'est la vie. Thus concludes tonight's strange fantasy. Tune in next time for another look into the strange and obscure.
Strange Fantasy Show presented Double Dealings. Written by Michael Song. Produced by Ashley Scarbro and Travis Scarbro. Edited by Ashley Scarbro and Travis Scarbro. Original score by Travis Scarbro. The players of tonight's tale are as follows. Travis Scarbro as the conductor, the waiter, and bystander number 1. Ashley Scarbro as Philippia. Michael Song as Dr. Rivers, and bystander number 2. Ty Anderson as Marshall Runcible, and bystander number 3. Ben Lopez as James Tercel. Samantha Brown as Julia Tercel, and Heath Allyn as Oscar Ward. Strange Fantasy Show was created by Travis Scarbro. Strange Fantasy Show is copyright 2020 Strange Fantasy Productions, all rights reserved. Any and all characters appearing in this work are fictitious, and any resemblance to real persons living or dead is purely coincidental. Hi everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Strange Fantasy. I'm Travis.
Ashley here.
We're the creators, writers, and producers of the show. And we just wanted to take a quick second to let you know that if you like Strange Fantasy, be sure and show your love by subscribing, downloading, and rating the show on iTunes, Spotify, or any of the many platforms we exist on.
And for exclusive rewards and merchandise, or just to donate to our cause to help us to continue to thrive, be sure to visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/strangefantasy. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram by searching Strange Fantasy Show for updates and haunting original art. All this and more can be found on our website, strangefantasyshow.com. From Strange Fantasy Productions, we do have a brand new project out called The Dastardly Dangerous Adventures of Darby's the Cat. It is available anywhere where you get your podcast.
Thanks for listening, and see you next time.